playground! Hooray!
What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the Deron Harris program, episode number 43. What are we doing here? What I mean by that is, do you know your relationship status? If you're in a relationship, or you want to be in a relationship, or you think that you're in a relationship, do you know what your relationship status is? Do you care what your relationship status is? That's pretty important. We're going to be talking about that today on the program. But first, I want to let everybody know that last week's podcast, I'm trying to carry over the principles from that podcast. So in front of me, I have already gotten started with my visual aids. The don't say the don't say and the don't say you know what I mean pieces of Post-it note that I have made available at my disposal so that hopefully, in hopes that I don't say or you know what I mean half as much. Today's goal, now I'm not perfect, but today's goal is to really take a concerted effort once again, to get rid of the crutch words in my vocabulary so that I can be more clear. I can deliver more meaningful content. Helps me think on my feet more. So bear with me because if you listened to my podcast before, you could probably make a montage out of how many times I've said all three of those crutch words or crutch phrases, because there are crutch phrases as well, but I'm trying to get rid of them. So, with that, I want to let everybody know that the regular Deron Harris podcast format is back. I got the shout-outs, the Dope Shit Award, Strain of the Week, EarBudz, and some relationship goals also with What's Poppin'. So today I want to give a shout-out. I want to do the first shout-out. I only got one shout-out. It's pretty important. I want to give a shout out to comedian Ricky Smiley. Brother, my prayers are with you, man, and your son, man. I know that this is hard. No parent should have to bury their child, but I'm truly sorry for your loss, and I wish you comfort, and I wish you and your other kids comfort also, and your whole family, man. God bless you, and we love you. We know that it's hard, but just know that there are a lot of people out there that love you and they support you. So just keep that in mind, brother. We love you. That's really hard. I have two sons. And I couldn't imagine what it must have been like, or what it's like to bury your children. No one should ever have to bury their child. I've had some major tragedies in my family. My father actually has, let me not say that. My father actually has, he lost 4 brothers in one day, and crutch word. He lost 4 brothers in one day, so my grandfather had to bury 3 of his children. And my father watched that. My father actually, a couple of years ago, had to bury my brother Kevin. He passed away during COVID. or towards the end of COVID. But to anybody who has had to bury a child, I am so sorry. And I know that it is probably the largest hole in your heart that would never be filled, that will never be filled. But I do believe that there's a good place for all people. I do believe that. So I just wanted to take that time to send my condolences to Mr. Smiley. And I guess I should talk about some brighter news. I do have some bright news. This is the Dope Shit Award. Today's Dope Shit Award goes to Autumn Lockwood. A lot of people may not even know who that is, but you will, especially if they win. Autumn Lockwood is going to be making history as the first black woman to coach in a Super Bowl. Look at that. Sis, go ahead. Sis, do that thing. Sis. You know what I mean? That is a straight up crutch word. See, it's very hard. I have to look down at my things. I have to look down. I have to keep my composure about me. I have to look at my visual cues so I don't say these things. But I'm going to continue along with the story. Autumn Lockwood. She works for the Philadelphia Eagles. She is the assistant performance coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's what I was trying to say. She's going to be the first black woman to coach in a Super Bowl. I think that is the most outstanding thing. My father, I know he's a football coach. I know he is just beside himself with joy. Congratulations, Dad. But I think that is a big achievement because football has been really a male-dominated sport. It really has always been a male-dominated sport. Now, there's been coaches on teams. She's actually the fifth woman to actually coach. There's been other women to coach Super Bowl teams, but she is the first black woman, and that is significant, and it is extremely poignant. It is motivating. It is optimistic. It is enlightening. It's powerful. It makes a bold statement that we are here. We aren't going anywhere. It doesn't matter. Congratulations. I think that's one of the dopest things that I've heard in a long time. Just someone that worked their way up into the position that she was in. She went to UNLV. She worked at UNLV as the assistant conditioning and training coach for the basketball team for the men and the women. And then before that, she got her master's, but she got her master's in Tennessee. She went to I don't have the story right here in front of me. It's just something that I'm trying to recall off the top of my head. But she got her master's degree in Tennessee, which she excelled at, obviously. And then she went on to be the coach at UNLV. I think that's dope. Today's Dope Shit Award goes to Autumn Lockwood. Keep doing it, girl. And I hope that this is something that motivates other young girls. That it should be inclusive. I don't think that there should be this definitive line. I mean, of course, we know that women can't, as of yet, go out on the gridiron and get, blindsided. That was a crutch word. Blindsided. By some 350-pound lineman. Not going to happen. Not right now. Maybe one of these American Gladiator ladies, but not no conventional lady. It would be awesome, though. I would love to see that. Not women getting tackled, but men trying as hard as they can not to tackle this sexy ass woman out here on the gridiron. I think it would be awesome. Anyway, what are today's earbuds? What am I listening to? What I've been listening to. I haven't done earbuds in 2 or 3 episodes, couple episodes. But today I got some earbuds that I've been listening to, and it's kind of all over the road. I can't put my finger on one artist in particular, so I'm just going to blurt it out. I've been listening to a lot of 80s and 90s hip-hop. Just old school hip hop. Just real classic hip hop. Back to the essence, the roots, even back before that. Listening to old songs that I used to listen to with my brother when we used to sit in our rooms with our tapes and record the Mr. Magic Show or the DJ Red Alert Show. It was Mr. Magic and Molly Mall versus DJ Red Alert. And I think it was 92 KTU versus WBLS. And then 92 KTU became like freestyle or something like that. And hip hop moved to Hot 97. But that's what we did. We listened to all these great hip-hop songs, and we modeled ourselves after these songs, and it was a very New York thing. It was a very New York thing. And it took me back to the fashions of like two-tone Lees and silk BVD shirts and the Gazelles with the Kangos and the Adidas with the fat laces. I used to dress like that. That was me. Old school LL Cool J. Cool J know what I'm talking about. Old school hip hop. And it got me thinking. There was a lot of hip hop in the 90s, I'll say, that really kind of took another vein, like the gangster rap vein, which I'm not speaking negatively about at all. But it came about more in the 90s. Gangster rap came about more in the 90s. The 80s, the early 80s, early to mid 80s, they was rapping about different stuff. They was rapping about, let me say this, there was more optimistic hip hop, more party oriented hip hop. Like I listened to a lot of Heavy D tracks, and Heavy D, in my opinion, has always been one of the greatest lyricists to ever do it. And he didn't cuss. He danced around. He made tracks that everybody danced around to. But he also made some real dope, hard, street-worthy bangers. That's rare these days. I mean, Will Smith, let's talk about it. I mean, in my opinion, let's talk about Will Smith, because I listened to some Will Smith too. And he's a hell of a rapper, hell of a MC. But in my opinion, a lot of his hip hop is made for an audience that's not necessarily, it's made for another audience, if you get what I'm saying. I don't want to be all cryptic and everything, but I'm going to be all cryptic. But it's not made, not until later. There became some tracks later, but some of these other tracks were just so, it made the vanilla, the clear people, as my mother would say, feel comfortable. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's inclusive. And that's great. And he blew up off of it, and he became Will Smith off of it. Great. I think it's great. It was great music. And I'm going through and cataloging all my music and everything that I used to listen to. And it's very nostalgic because I've sat here and gone through almost every phase in my life listening to all these old songs, the Ultramagnetic MCs, Ego Trippin', that was my jam right there. Problems of the World Today. I don't know if anybody remembers Problems of the World Today. That was my jam right there. That was in the 80s. Problems, education problems, unemployment. You know what it is. You know what it is. That was the jam. There was so much stuff. And then the 90s happened, and you got a lot of cats that came out in like 92, 3, and 4, 5, 6. Like, I had always been listening to Redman. I had always been listening to Busta Rhymes, but they were always features on other albums, but they were coming out with their own albums. Busta Rhymes' album, like, destroyed New York. It was crazy. I was there for the whole meltdown. That track, woo-ha, got you all in check. Psh, come on, man. That melted all of New York City, and it melted the country. It had people on Sports Center saying it. It was crazy. It was all over the country, and it blew up, and it was a good time for hip hop. That was a good track for hip hop. We don't get that right now. We're not getting that right now. And I don't want to knock the new kids, man. I really don't. But I'm finding a lot of new hip hop artists, or a lot of the artists that are being put out now, in my opinion, lack a lot of substance. Now, I'm not saying everyone. I'm not saying every artist is that way. And I'm not going to say, I can't really say if it's the majority, but most of the tracks that I've heard, there could be some more substance to it. Now, the same argument could be made for music back then, but I think the things that the kids are rapping about these days has already been done, and this, especially the younger kids, the younger hip-hop artists, this is your opportunity to change things. This is their opportunity to change the narrative. But there's a lot of arrogance. There's a lot of me, a lot of narcissism. Because they got a little bit of money now. And it's a lot of image. It's very image driven. It's not really driven by heart. I want to rap so I can make money. I want to rap so I can show that I got this. I want to rap so everybody thinks that I'm cool. I remember a time where people rapped because they wanted to share what was happening in their neighborhoods. They wanted to kind of chronicle their lives and their lifestyle and their livelihood. Some people really had to go out there and sling it, to do these things. And I think now a lot of that imagery is being forced so that it can be rapped about, so that it can gain credibility. And I'm some old dude. Maybe that's just my opinion, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one, and they all sting. So that's my opinion about it. But I really did feel good listening to a bunch of 90s hip hop. And if you really want to know some artists that you can kind of revisit from the 90s. You can go back and hit some 90s Redman. There was a dude named Nine. He kind of fell off. Some 90s Nine. Old Busta Rhymes. Craig Mack, of course. Of course, we all know the Notorious B.I.G., Biggie. All that old Jay-Z stuff from 94 on. Really. 94 into the 2000s. And even that early 2000 stuff, which I've been listening to a little bit of that too. Just really kind of reconnecting. And it's been helpful to kind of go through all of this music because it helps me reconnect with myself. Know what I mean? I did that on purpose. So that was today's EarBudz. Anything hip-hop from the 90s. Anything hip-hop from the 80s and 90s. And even West Coast. Try some West Coast. Not just the East Coast. I'm from New York, so that's the reason why, I lean a little more New York-style hip-hop. And there was a crutch word back there. I'm going to call myself out. I'm calling myself out. Every time there's a crutch word in the mix, I'm going to call it out. Disgusting. Fucking hate myself. Okay. Moving on. Strain of the week. There's been a few strains since the last time we spoke. A lot of the same strains since the last time we spoke, but some different ones. I have one that is different. I thought I had done a segment on something that was very similar to this. And I looked through all the podcasts, and no. So today's strain, I will tell you, is Sour OG. No, it's not Sour OG. Ha 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 ha. Psych. It's Sour Kim. That's what it is. And according to Leafly, it is known as Kim Sour Diesel, Kim Sour, Kim Dog Diesel, Kim Dog Sour, Kim Dog Diesel. I said that. They said that to Kim Diesel. What? Anyway. Kim Dog Sour. It is sativa dominant. I got it ground, and usually the ground flower, you kind of sacrifice a little bit of the THC and terpenes in the ground flower. I went to True Leaf for $15. I got 3.5 grams of ground Sour Kim. It was 25%. I didn't ask what the terpenes were, but I knew they was there somewhere because they were right there. It was super, well, I was in the car moments ago. Anyway, super energizing. And it's the same according to Leafly. A lot of people reported that was energizing for them. They got out and they did a lot of things. They were active, and we were very active. I'm going to be more active after my podcast by doing laundry. It's great. Let's see what else Leafly says about it. Okay. If you are creative, some people have reported that it makes them feel creative, energetic, and uplifted. The negatives to it is some people said that it made them feel dizzy, they had dry mouth, and it made them feel a little anxious. I didn't feel that at all. I thought it was wonderful. I thought it was, well, here I am now. Definitely helps with stress and anxiety. Not so much for pain. I didn't really notice it for pain. I did notice that my neck hurt. That's one thing I did notice, that my neck was hurting. But I did notice that I was high and that my neck was hurting at the same time. I noticed that. So I made a note. I made it a point to make a note that this particular strain, for me anyway, didn't do shit as far as the pain. Depression, because I suffer from depression also. You wouldn't know it because this is great for me. But according to the people on Leafly that I'm looking at, 16% of people on Leafly said it helped them with depression. I am one of the 16% because it definitely helped this week with depression. I was able to get things done. I baked some cookies. I baked some things. I'm going to go back in to the kitchen here shortly. I'm probably going to bake a pie, maybe a cake this weekend. And the good thing about that is it made me pull out old recipe books. If you don't know me, I'm a baker. I like to bake. I've been liking to bake my whole life. And this was like, you know what, D, go dust this off. And it really kind of triggered it because I found a book. I have this Food Network Chocolate Lovers book. And I saw the other Chocolate Lovers book. I have the 2012 Chocolate Lovers book. But then the other day in the magazine rack, I saw this year's edition of the Chocolate Lovers magazine. So I bought it, and I noticed that it was a lot of the same recipes, and I was very excited because there were a lot of new recipes. And man, I almost read this thing from cover to cover looking at these recipes, and it was because of this stuff, because I don't sit anywhere and read shit for a long period of time. I just don't do that shit. Even though I should read more. I know I should. I have been known to read some shit. It's hard for me to read. I got glasses recently, and since I got glasses, it's been a little easier to read and a little more enjoyable. Before, I used to get headaches and eyes would water, ADHD. I want to get high. Peef, I'm out of here. But it didn't do that for me. It focused me in. It made me optimistic. It made me come in here. Man, I came in the whole studio, gutted everything out, sprayed it down, made it smell nice, cleaned it, swept, la 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 la. Put my own little spin on it. Looks nice in here. Looks like a disaster every place else because I got to go replace some shit. But in here looks great. Happy with that. And I highly recommend it. I got it from True Leaf. I called ahead. Call ahead. True Leaf is like Nordstrom's, in the respect, crutch word, in the respect that they're expensive. They rarely have things on sale. A lot of other places have things on sale, but recently I've noticed that True Leaf is starting to have a lot more reasonable sales on a lot more desirable product, which is great. I think it's great. It's a good thing. So, Sour Kim, that is the strain of the week. I am going to take a quick, fast break. And when I come back, we're going to find out what your relationship status is. This is the Deron Harris Podcast.
The stars will always shine, the birds will always sing. As long as there is thirst, there's always the real thing. Coca-Cola is always the one. Whenever there is fun, there's always Coca-Cola. Yeah. Coca-Cola, always Coca-Cola.
Hey, folks, what's up? Welcome back to the program. I'm back. Had to step out to the car for a few minutes. I'm eating cookies. Had to eat me some cookies, and no, they're not special cookies, just regular cookies that I baked the other day. I made some dynamite-ass chocolate chip cookies, if I do say so myself. Them shits was banging. Bang to the bookie. What's popping this week is, do you know your relationship status? Do you know it? That's a serious question. Do you know what your relationship status is? Is it a monogamous relationship? Is it a friends with benefits relationship? Are you somebody's booty call? Are you somebody's boomerang? Is it coworkers with benefits? Are you somebody's last resort? Do you know? Do you care? If you don't know, why don't you know? Is it Instagram official? Is it keep it on the down low? Is it don't call me, I'll call you? What is it? Why don't you know? Why is it important to know? I think it's very important to know what your relationship status is. I think it's very important to be clear. And the benefits of being clear is there's no confusion. There's absolutely no confusion. You are perfectly clear about what you're doing here. What do I want from this? What do I want from you? Or what do you want from me, for that matter? You get to find out how the other person feels about you. You find out where you stand with that person. Just by being open and trying to communicate and finding out and being clear. You find out if you're being played or not. That's real shit right there. It really is. It's necessary to know because you can manage and navigate through your relationship at your pace. You can build, you have an opportunity to build a healthy relationship. A lot of people, you'd be surprised. There's so many people that don't know their status. They don't know if this person they likes them in the same way. They just kind of accept what it is. They assume things a lot. And when you assume things in a relationship setting, especially an intimate relationship setting, when you begin to assume things, especially if you haven't clarified anything, that is where people begin to get hurt. That's where you start hurting people. And some people don't even know that they're hurting you. You know, they're like, why? That was a crutch word back there, but they're like, why? Do you feel that I'm hurting you? You didn't make anything official. Yeah, but we were hanging out and I really liked you and you were at my house 3 and 4 days a week, but we didn't make it official. Yeah, but you know what I'm talking about? Actually, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You're not my girl, or you're not my man. We just hang out a lot. I like you too, but there's no commitment here. You see what I'm saying? That happens a lot. People get hurt because they're not clear. And I think it is very important to be clear. Now, I know my relationship status. I have a big, solid titanium band around my finger saying that I belong to this woman in the other room. And she's got one on her finger that says that she belongs to me too. And that is my status. I am married. I am in a committed monogamous relationship. That is my relationship status. But before that, when we were dating, it was very important for me to establish what our relationship was. For people that don't know, I met my wife on Tinder. But I got extremely lucky. I really did, because on Tinder, my profile was like fucking Ebenezer Scrooge on that bitch. It's like I hated people, like just hated women. I just hate you motherfuckers. I hate y'all. But something made my wife swipe right on me. And she got to know me. We got to know each other. And here we are. But I had to be clear with her, just like she had to be clear with me also. She was very honest up front. I was very honest up front. We knew. We met on Tinder. We knew. We were fully aware. We're both adults here. But the thing that worked out was the fact that we were both looking for the same thing. We were looking for people that didn't come with all that bullshit. That was, I mean, we all come with our level of bullshit. Everybody has a bullshit to fact ratio. You just have to figure out what it is. But we didn't come with as much bullshit as we had been through in previous relationships. And for me, I made an effort to be conscious in my relationship, to be absolutely conscious in my relationships with her. Super transparent, whatever she wanted to know, and vice versa. Same thing, whatever I wanted to know. And not only did we form a great romance, but we formed an incredible friendship. She's my best friend. I mean, hanging out with my wife is like hanging out with like my best friends. She's my best friend. I got blessed. I got compensated, somebody told me. I got compensated. But like I said, I had to be clear. And I was very formal with her. I asked her. I told her, I said, I like you. She said, okay. I said, no, I don't think you get it. I like you, and I would really like it if you would spend your time with me and me only. And I spend my time with you and you only. And she laughed and agreed, and here we are. We've been joined at the hip ever since. We rode it out through COVID together twice. That's my dog right there. You know what I'm saying? That's my homie right there. My wife is my straight up homie. That's my homie. She ride for me just like I ride for her. If somebody look at me sideways, she trying to look at them sideways. I'm like, listen, nah, he was looking at the dude behind me. She ready to do it. I love it. And I'm the same way about her. Because it was that open communication and knowing what our status was very early. I asked her, I said, what are you looking for? She said, all I want from you is time. I said, that's it? I got plenty of time because I make time, and that's what I'm talking about. People make time for the people they want to make time for. They always do. If you got somebody in your life that you like, and is constantly making excuses why they can't see you right now, and every now and then they ride by and see you, that's a red flag. You know, you want some, that was a crutch word back there that you know, and that right there, double crutch word. But you might be somebody's booty call, not really booty call, but just somebody's don't call me, I'll call you. All these relationships are different, whether it be a monogamous relationship, friends with benefits, coworkers with benefits, booty call. They all have their different characteristics, but not all of them have everyone's consent, if you get what I'm saying. Booty calls, people generally, they get it. They understand. But the problem with booty calls is a lot of times people catch feelings that people didn't necessarily want to catch, because a lot of times A lot of people aren't, you're not the only booty call this person has, if you get my drift. Because if you don't pick up your phone, that doesn't stop this person from going and doing what they're going to go do. They just going to go do it with somebody else. But if you're clear about it, then it is what it is. If both people are okay with it, then it is what it is. And that way, you have defined your relationship. We don't go to the movies. We don't go out to eat. I call you at 3:30 in the morning. You answer the phone all half asleep. Oh, yeah. You know the rest. Everybody knows the rest. You know what I'm saying? So we get it. That was a crutch phrase. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to call myself out. I'm doing it. I'm committed to it. I'm calling it out. I hate myself. But yeah. What's it going to be? Are you going to be brave? Because that's really what it is. People are afraid. This is why people don't know. If you don't know, and I guarantee you this, if you don't know your relationship status, it's because you're afraid to ask. You're afraid of the answer that you're going to receive because you're afraid it's not going to be the answer that you want. And that's why you don't know what your relationship status is. Some people dread somebody saying, hey, listen, I want to be close to you because this person is okay with gallivanting around. You just a notch in the belt, one of the horses in the stable. We all been there. We all have been a horse in somebody's stable. We've all been horses in multiple people's stables. A lot of us. Some people try to act like they're all innocent and, oh, no, never, not me. Yeah, you too. You too. It's crazy. Because, sorry about the long, awkward pause, but I just think about it. I think about all the relationships that I really was unclear because there was nothing really ever said. We're just hanging out. Now we're hanging out a lot. Now all of a sudden we're really, really hanging out. Now we're hanging out. But there has been nothing said that makes us committed to each other. We're great friends. That's what it is sometimes. Great friends. We're awesome friends that have nobody. I don't have nobody. You ain't got nobody. Man, my dick is hard as a motherfucker. You down? Yeah, I'm down. And you can maintain that. A lot of people can. A lot of people can't. I've seen great friendships break up because they started fucking. On the other hand of that, I've seen the most beautiful relationships in the world because they were friends first. That's the plus side of that. But friends with benefits also kind of trickles down into the category of booty call. Because you're my friend, and we all call them our friends. Oh, it's just my friend. Oh, it's my friend. Oh, it's my friend. That's my friend. Okay. We all got those friends. I guess what I'm trying to say is it is important to know your relationship status because you avoid pain, you avoid hurt, you get honesty, or you try and extract honesty is what I'm saying, because a lot of people will lie anyway. But if I'm I was open and honest. I was like, look, I told my wife several times. I said, listen, I don't want to get in your way. If you out here doing your thing, I get it. I know you just got here and moved to Florida. She said, no. I said, I know you've probably gone out and dated other people. No. You're the first person I've gone out with. Some other people, and she was honest. She said some other people, she had spoken with some other people on Tinder because she was on Tinder like I was. She had spoken to some other people. But I was the only person that she had met up with. And here we are. Because of clarity. Knowing what your relationship status is. I'm single when I met her. I'm single. I'm a single person. I work my ass off. I have nobody. I come home and I make beats. I smoke a lot of weed. I take a lot of naps. I got a couple of friends that I go maybe have a cocktail with every now and then. And that's the extent of my life. I don't have a lot of time. I work a lot. I work far away. It was a lot for me. But like I said in the beginning, people make time for the things that they want to make time for. And I made time to get to know this woman because, like I said, I had dated a girl and she was very attractive, but it just was not anywhere close to being compatible. Just an antagonist from every single angle all the time and did it for fun on purpose. That was the last relationship previously to my wife and I becoming involved in that relationship ended like 5 months before, like a while before I even met my wife. I was just at work, coming home, making beats, smoking a lot of weed. I'd go down and see my friends in other parts of Florida. But for the most part, I did a lot of that shit by myself. I didn't want to be around anybody. I didn't want to be around a woman. I didn't give a fuck about that at the moment. I was trying to get my hustle popping. That's what I was, but I was still on Tinder. Because I guess deep down, I was still looking for that person, my actual person. And I found her. I got lucky. And not lucky, I got compensated. I continue to say that. And I found her. And I'm blessed because of that. If you're afraid to ask about your relationship status, that's you setting your whole relationship up for failure. It really is. Because when you're not clear, things happen like you kicking it with somebody and they go out of town for a week. And while they out of town, they fuck somebody. And then they come home and they tell you about it. And you feel some type of way, but you can't feel no type of way because this person isn't really my person. This person is their own person. They just happen to hang out with me a lot. The only question you can really ask that person is, did you use protection? That's it. That's it. That's the only question that you can, and if they say no, then you might be able to be mad at that, especially if they don't use protection with you. That's the only thing you can be upset about. But so many times people get upset because they have feelings for that person, but they haven't made it clear to that person that they have these feelings. Therefore, there's a lot of assumptions made and a lot of feelings get hurt. A lot of people aren't trying to hurt anybody. They just want to meet their needs. They just want to look out for themselves. They want to explore things for themselves. They really do. There's nothing wrong with that, especially if a person is single. You can do whatever the fuck you want to if you're single. You can go fucking sell your ass to the Russian mob if you want to, if you're single. But if you're in a relationship, it'd be hard to get away with that unless you're in a relationship with somebody who really doesn't give a fuck about that. And the only way you find that out is by communication, by talking to that person, by finding out what this is. What is this? Are we just fucking? Is that it? Because if we just fucking, let me know. And I'll step out the way if something, I might be a great wingman for you. Let me know. I mean, me personally, I'm not that dude. I will let you know. And by all accounts of that, you need to let me know too. And she did. She let me know exactly what she was looking for. Right off the bat. Bing, bing. And it happened kind of quickly. It was like 3 months. And I was like, listen, you need to be, but for that 3 months, she was at my house every single day. Every single day. I think the first week she went home. She went home at night. And then after the first week and a half, she was at my house and stayed at my house every single day but all that 3 months, it was not official. It was not an official thing. It was not official. It felt like something that was official because we were together all the time. We didn't want to do anything except be around each other. We text each other all the time. We called each other. We always were in constant contact with each other all the time. And that made it great. It made it more, it solidified our relationship more when I said to her what I said, when I swallowed everything and was like, I need to know what this is, because I didn't know. And one of the reasons I did this is because I really, really liked her, and I didn't want her to go out and be with somebody else because I wasn't clear. And she may have found somebody on Tinder, because don't get it twisted. People still, if I meet you on Tinder, I still have Tinder. You know what I'm saying? I still motherfucker got it. I'm still getting swipe rights, and when you're not around, I might be swiping right too. That's still happening, especially if you just meet this person on Tinder. So I know motherfuckers was in the DM on some like, yo, what's up, sexy? And I know there's probably some correspondence, whatever, but it began to feel more and more natural, And I finally popped the, you want to go steady question. And like I said, we were joined at the hip. Took us 2.5, 3 years, and now we're married. And that's how you do it. You have to know your relationship status to avoid being hurt. To find your actual person, to find the person that you really want to be with. Because if you don't know your relationship status and things go awry, you have just wasted all that time. That's a lot of time wasted. You have wasted time. Life is short to spend with the wrong people. Also, life is too short to hold people hostage. You know what I'm saying? That was a crutch phrase. Life is too short to hold people hostage. Life is too short to spend with somebody who doesn't share the same nature as you, who doesn't enjoy the same things as you, that doesn't support the same ideologies that you support. That happens all the time. People are just drawn to each other physically, sexually. But after that, what the fuck do you have? What do you have? How deep is your relationship? How deep is your relationship? Do you want a deep relationship? Do you not want a deep relationship? Do you want a deep relationship with someone? Do you want to be madly in love with someone? Then you need to tell people what you want, because you might be pleasantly surprised. If you're afraid to ask somebody because you're afraid of that outcome, they might tell you that you got a 50-50 chance. And if they're hanging out with you a lot, if you're hanging out a lot, your chances go up. And that's what happened in my case. We just hung out. I basically commandeered this woman. I took this lady. I really did. I stole this woman and kept her for my own. I held her hostage. And I chained her up in my house, and now we are married. Yep. And I'm never going to let her go. Cultivate a good relationship by being inquisitive. You have to inquire. Now, some motherfuckers going to lie, and they're going to catch themselves in lies, and you don't want to be with that either. So that's another reason to ask. Always ask. What is this? Where are we going with this? I mean, I've had people say, listen, this isn't going anywhere. I really think you're a great person. I've had that happen a few times. And you're just mortified. Oh, but, man, did you do me a fucking favor? Because you're right. Because you're right. Because you're right. I'm not your person. And you know that. Even if I don't. Because you know what your person is. You know who your person is. Right from jump. I knew right from jump who my person was. And this woman right here. All the people I was like, oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. Man, not like this. It's a different kind. And it was because, like I said, I took time. I took time to think about what this was, what I wanted it to be, what I wanted to mold and shape this relationship to be. I was able to, it was almost like being Gandalf or somebody looking into a crystal ball, just making stuff how, okay, I want to move this over here and then that over there, moving shit around. And I was able to manipulate, well, I don't want to say manipulate, because I didn't manipulate my wife into marrying me or anything. She did it on her own free will. But I was able to really kind of be the project manager of my relationship, as was she. She was able to also be the project manager and build and construct the relationship with me that she wanted. And that is the way to build your relationship, in my opinion. It's a great way to build your relationship. Show your vulnerabilities. It's not listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. There's a lot of women, oh man, oh, this nigga crying and shit. Oh man, you don't want no crying ass nigga. You know? Listen, some things hurt. And it doesn't make you any less of a person, less of a man because you cry. People break the fuck down. I broke down until I was in a mental institution. Ha! Sometimes you have to. Sometimes if you don't cry and let it out, motherfuckers snap and shoot shit up. But everybody wants to portray this. There was a crutch word back there too. Everybody wants to portray this. Nah, I'm a hard rock. I'm this hard rock dude. I'm all 100% man. And women make it, oh, he can't deal with this. You can't handle this. I'm too much woman for this dude. You can't handle me. And it's just so much aggression. So much aggression. And that's what it looks like in the world today, from my perspective anyway. Everybody's trying to get something from somebody. And what I liked about my wife is she wasn't trying to get anything from me except for my time. And that's what I wanted to give her. Every minute I had, I wanted to give to her. And all she wanted was every minute extra that I had. It didn't get any simpler than that. So, listen, folks. I want you to know what your relationship status is. So, if you don't know what your relationship status is, I challenge you to do this. And it's going to sound silly. Go in and write down exactly what you want in a relationship. Don't say it in your head. Don't write it in your phone. Get a piece of paper and a pen and write down what you want in a relationship. And on that same piece of paper, maybe the other side, you write down the mate of all mates. You write that down. This is the person. Now you're not going to find this motherfucker, okay? I'm just going to let you know. Because nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to fit into every single category that you have. Nobody's going to, but out of everything, try and jot down as many as you can. More than 5. More than 5. Try to get over 10, 15. Everything. Who is your mate? What would this person do? Who is your perfect person? Write this shit down. Write it down. Write it down. Internalize it. This is what I want. This is what I want. This is the person that I want them to have these type of values. I want her to look like this. Every little detail about this person. Write that shit down. Write it down. And then from there, this is what you do with that. You look at that list. And out of that list, you choose 4 or 5, maybe 6 absolute must-haves. You can't lie. You got to have a fat ass, whatever. 5 gotta be this. If one of these 5s is, I don't care how fine you are, it's off. It's got to be and stick to those guns. Stick to that shit. Don't let nobody peel you off of that. Don't let nobody fat ass. Don't let nobody's bankroll. Nothing. Don't let nobody pull you off of those 5 must-haves. You know what I'm saying? Damn, this motherfucker fine as hell. But he's a liar. Get rid of that motherfucker. If that's one of your 5, if you could deal with a liar, then that's just, that's cool. But if that's one of your 5 must-have, which if you're trying to be in a monogamous relationship, that's number 1 on pretty much everybody's list. But don't not do this. Write this list down. And out of those must-haves, out of that list, you write those must-haves, right? Now, you go back to your list and you look at this list, everything that's on this list, and then you try as hard as you can, because it's going to be rough and difficult, because you'll see how rough it is to meet expectations, people's expectations. From there, try and meet those expectations. Try and meet your own expectations. Try and meet those expectations that you want from another person. I want this person to have this. I want this person to look like that. I want this person to be fit and in shape. If you're like 12 sandwiches every fucking day and you want some goddess that comes from the gym every day, then you know what you need to do, because it's going to be rare. You might, but it's going to be hard to do that. You follow me? You get what I'm saying? In other words, you try and live as the person that you want to attract. Like attracts like. It really does. Like attracts like. If you're a nice person and you go out with somebody who ain't nice, your relationship is going to be hard to sustain. It's going to be hard to do. Y'all going to be fighting all the time. It's going to be, I don't care what it is. I don't give a fuck how good it is. I don't care. I don't give a fuck. It's going to be hard to do. It's going to be hard for me to do. Man, I can't fuck with this bitch today. I can't. As a matter of fact, I can't fuck with this bitch at all. You know what I'm saying? For real. Ask me how I know. It happened to me twice. Happened to me twice. You know what I'm saying? 2 times. I can't really deal with this at all. I know that I'm not compatible with a Sagittarius. We could be great friends, can never be together. Period. Never going to do it. Well, never going to do it now because I took the oath. And I'm quite happy with that. But you take your list and you start living as that person. You start trying to do the things that you wrote down that you want this person to do. And you'll be surprised. You'll start attracting those types of people. I want somebody who's musically inclined, or I want somebody who's a philanthropist, or I want somebody who's whatever it is. You start doing these things. You want somebody that's musically inclined? Go take some music lessons. Dead ass serious. Go take some music lessons. You'll be surprised who you meet, because you took some piano classes and now you play piano a little bit. What doors opened up to you? I met somebody in piano class that invited me to one of their recitals where there was this person that was da-da-da-da-da, so on and so forth. Bow! You know what I'm saying? That was a crutch word right in it. See? Know what I'm saying? It's right here in my face. Don't say you know what I mean, or I need to add you know what I'm saying to that also. Trucking right along. I wonder how many crutch words that I've said that I haven't caught. I really would like to know that. Producers, if you're listening to me, I'd like to know how many. What's the count? Like some jelly bean head. Guess how many jelly beans are in this head? And win a chocolate bar or some dumb shit like that. Yeah, relationships. Status. So you're living as this person that you've written down. And put this list in plain sight. Put it up on the fridge. Take a picture of it, put it on your phone. Don't make it in your phone because you won't go back to it in your notes. It'll just get buried in your notes. But write it down. Put it on your fridge. Put it in something that you look at every day. And look at it every day and internalize that shit. Internalize it. I am this new... And I'll tell you what. You'll change. You will change. You, yourself, if you have discipline, will change to meet those expectations that you have set. You set those expectations. You put that shit into play. You said, I'm going to start doing this. I'm going to go out every day and I'm going to pick up trash in the hood. This is what I'm going to do. And you'll start meeting people that's out there trying to do better for the community. You'll start looking at little programs to go, oh, this program, and you'll meet other people. You'll meet more dynamic. You'll have an open, the field will open up. The field will open up. You have to be broad. You have to be unafraid. You have to be committed to wanting a quality relationship and a better quality of life. You have to be committed to that because I don't care what you say. If you don't know what your relationship status is with somebody, your quality of life ain't that good. It can't be because it could be anything. I could be here today and gone tomorrow. Oh, wow, you ain't my girl, so peace. And then all of a sudden you devastated. I don't give a fuck. You ain't my girl. I'm out. That shit happens. It's happening today. In your town. It's happening to some of your friends right now. It's happening to you. It's happening to some of you right now. Where you're like, man, I don't want to ask him, man, because I mean, I really like him, and if I'm too clingy, he might not come around, or I just want him to come over. If I don't give him sex, then somebody else will. Like, newsflash, even if you give him sex, he gonna go fuck somebody else too. And newsflash for you fellas, vice versa. Women on the other side too. Even if you do give her sex, she going to get it from someplace else too. Especially if that's what she been doing. Because think about it like this. Very rare cases. Like, my wife just moved here. You know what I'm saying? I had been single for like 5-6 months before I met her. So in our case, neither one of us was seeing anybody when we met. But so many single people are dating. They're out dating. Some people are on Tinder, out doing their thing. Bumble, all kinds of shit. There's all kinds of shit out here. They're out doing their thing. So always think about it like this. I always try to think about it like this. When you meet somebody, a lot of the times they're already involved with somebody, have been involved with somebody recently, because people are people. And people are sexual beings. People are people who need to be around other people. We all need tactile stimulation. We all need that validation. We all need that. We all want that. We all crave that. We all desire that because it's human nature. It's just something we can't deny. I don't give a fuck how high your fucking turtleneck is and how fucking tight your panties are. Eventually, they're going to get wet. because you crave that, because you want that. You want that touch. I don't care how fine you are, how fat you are, I don't care. It hits us all. So, wow. Again, with the long pause, because I just get lost in thoughts of the bullshit. Just thoughts of the bullshit, man. Just the bullshit. Trying to be a good person to people that weren't worthy to be good for. You know what I mean? Sticking around when you shouldn't stick around. That's not good either. Some people stick around for sympathy because they don't want to hurt the other person. I don't really like this person like that. But if somebody has ever said to you this, listen, I don't want to stop you from being happy while you guys are hanging out with each other. If you've been hanging, let's put it like this. Say you've been hanging out with somebody for 3 months, 4 months. You know, it's pretty good. See each other pretty frequently. Call each other, talk to each other a lot. We have a good time together. Everything is good. But if that person says to you, after this period of time, if that person says to you, yo, listen, I don't want to stop you from being happy, that means, in my opinion, means one thing only, and that's I don't really see a future in this. I don't see a future. I don't mind fucking you. You know what I'm saying? You fine. We have a good time. But if I find somebody else that I like better, you might not see me for a while. That's exactly what that translates into. You know what I'm saying? So start learning the signs, and not for nothing, respect yourself more. Respect yourself enough to know what to say, listen, you're not going to treat me like that. You're not going to be in and out, in and out, in and out. And fellas too, because there's chicks that's straight up on this shit, guys. I mean, straight up on this shit. Chicks that go straight up from your house to his house to that motherfucker house and that motherfucker's house. Just like you, dude. Everybody. But if you clear and that's not what you into, then you get to sidestep all that until you find now it takes a lot of sacrifice. It takes a lot of lonely nights. It takes a lot of lonely nights to find your person. It really does. It takes a lot of soul searching. It takes a lot of what do I really want? Because the first thing we think when we first meet a person from across, damn, this motherfucker is fine. And then the next thing we think after this motherfucker is fine is, you know, I want to fuck the shit out of this person. You know what I'm saying? And that's just really what it is. That's just what it is. Especially if the chemistry is there. Bing, 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 bing. What is this person like in bed? And that crosses everybody's mind when they're meeting. Period. What's this person like in bed? Especially because you're looking for someone to try to have a romantic relationship with. But rarely is it about someone, wow, I wonder what this person's intellect is like. It's never like that. It's like, wow, these titties is huge, or wow, this motherfucker got a dick print like a fucking Coke bottle, or whatever it is. It's always physical first. That's the first thing that most people are attracted to, is the physicalities of this person. Meanwhile, you're a fucking douchebag on the inside. And that happens more times than not. So many times motherfuckers get let down, men and women. Me, of course, my wife's been in this, everybody's been in this boat, just let down by somebody who is a fucking goddess or a fucking Adonis motherfucker. Just let down because you're a fucking douchebag, or you just don't care about me, or you're a liar, or so many. And that's the reason why you ask. That's the reason why, because when you ask questions, you catch motherfuckers out there. You catch motherfuckers out there, especially if they ain't got bullshit intentions. You ask. You find out your relationship status, because a lot of motherfuckers do. They have bullshit intentions. They just want a notch in the belt. They just looking for another horse in the stable. You know what I'm saying? They looking for Wednesday night. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to be somebody's Wednesday night. You don't ever want to be somebody's last resort. And that's what it is. That's ultimately what it is. Are you someone's last resort? Think about that. I don't ever want to be somebody's last resort because I've been somebody's last resort, and it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. You might have an orgasm or whatever it is, but you're humiliated. You're embarrassed. You're ashamed of yourself because you've allowed yourself to be manipulated this way. That's why it's important to ask. It's important to find out what your relationship status is. It is important to find that out. It really is. I cannot stress that enough. This is one of the most important podcasts I think I've done because I've just seen so much devastation in the relationships around me lately. It's not even funny. It's sad, actually. And I pray to God every day that my relationship remains intact. I really do. And behind that, I make concerted efforts every single day, every single day, to be the best husband to my wife I can be, to be the most honest, to be the most transparent, to be the most accountable. And I demand that of her as well, period. And I ask all the time. Ask questions in your relationship. It'll change your life. It'll change your relationship. I promise you. I promise you. Is there anything else to this? Let me look at my notes really fast, folks. I think that is... wait. I do have one last thing I really would like to discuss, and that is the little black book, because everybody's got one. It is a lot of people's most treasured possessions. It's just probably everybody's phone now. Everybody's got the little Rolodex in their phone with the little emojis next to whoever it is for whatever it is. I mean, back in me and my homies, we used to rate when I was growing up. We rated girls by cologne. Like if she was really fine, she was like a Dracar or an Eternity or something like that. If not, she was like Brute by Fabergé or some Old Spice. So that's how you rate it. It was OS for Old Spice, B for Brute, E for Eternity, and DK for Dracar. And that's how we did it. You know what I mean? And everybody does it. Everybody has their little treasured book. Everybody has that little Rolodex. You know what I'm saying? That book of shallow relationships is what I like to call it. It's the book of last resorts, the book of easy people, liars, etc. And it's not always a bad thing. It really isn't. It's not always a bad thing to have things like that. Because you have what you have. This is your clutch of people. But it's also important to let these people know where they stand. Let these people, you don't want to be this playboy. I mean, that's the one thing, getting caught out there. That's the one reason that you are honest with your relationship. That's another reason is you motherfuckers be getting caught the fuck out there living double lives like a motherfucker. Just caught. Oh shit, that's your whole family right there? Well shit, I've been seeing your ass for 3 years. I done heard that shit more times than I could count. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers have whole apartments living with people with a whole family. I've seen this shit. Because motherfuckers afraid to really say, try and dig out and figure out what's really going on. Sometimes really it's motherfuckers is just that good. You are that much of a douchebag, liar ass fucking genius that you got 2 fucking whole families in places. But that makes for a stressful life. That's stress. That's stress on stress on stress that you don't need. That makes for the most stressful shit that you can imagine. Just trying to juggle shit. We've all been there too. I like this person, but I like this person also. but this person wants a relationship and so this person, but I like both of these people. So you want some hush-hush shit because you don't want either one of them to go nowhere. And it always ends up being derailed because motherfuckers get caught up or be dishonest, or they don't let people know in the beginning what their expectations are in their relationship. That's why, again, folks, what are we doing here? You have to know what you doing here. Don't get your ass caught out there. I know, and there's people who live with each other that do shit like this, that live with each other and don't have a committed relationship. Sleeping, I mean, just like plenty of people out here afraid to ask, but not even, sometimes they're not even afraid to ask. Sometimes people assume. We've assumed just because we're in this situation that, but I've heard this too. You ain't never asked me shit. You ain't never told me. I didn't know. Motherfuckers get away with that shit once. And in my case, they never do because I always make it clear up front, but motherfuckers get away with that shit once. After that, you have to let somebody know, yo, all right, this is what it's going to be. And then after that, you get caught doing that shit again, then you know what it is. But in the front, you need to let people know because motherfuckers get that booty hurt shit all the time, man. Walk in on somebody that you thought you was really down with. Oh, shit. You walk into a restaurant, they sitting there with somebody else, all cooled up with another motherfucker. Oh, shit. And then they don't bat an eye. They don't even bat an eye. Hey, how you doing? And you like, wow, I thought it was something else. Then you get the phone call later, you call, and they put it to you in layman's terms. You ain't never make it clear what this was. So it ended up like this. I ended up fucking your homeboy. You know what I'm saying? That shit be happening. That shit happens. Happening right now. Happening to you. Happening to somebody you know. It's happened to me. It's happened to everyone. We can cut down on it if you want to. So I've been talking about this subject a lot. Maybe I'll talk about it some other time. But right now, I'm going to give it a little bit of a rest. And I am going to get into relationship goals. Because it makes me think about my relationship. Because I talk about my relationship with my wife all the time. We talk about the dynamics of our relationship all the time. It is on the top of our minds all the time, every day. We are now to the point where we are psychic friends with each other, where we can finish each other's sentences, and she knows what I want to eat, and she'll walk in here in 5 minutes, I guarantee you, with a peanut butter sandwich. I guarantee you. Maybe not, but you get what I'm saying. But we're at that point now where we work together at the house, great. But today's relationship goal is, how do you work together? I mean, like actually work together. Can you work together? I'm not talking about work at this relationship. It's a hard thing. This is hard. We trying to work this relationship, y'all. This relationship shit, man, that shit is real shit. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about together if like we're trying to dig a fucking boulder out of the front yard. Can we actually go out here and work together or not? Or in a different setting, if we're in an office setting together, or if we're bartenders together, or can we actually work? If I'm an employee and you're my manager, can we do that? Crutch word back there. Can we do that? It's difficult. It's difficult to negotiate. I will say that. I will definitely say that. It's difficult to negotiate. I know, at least in I would say in all businesses, because let's face it, folks, as much as we would like to believe this, we are not the only people that our spouses are attracted to a lot of the time. You know what I'm saying? We are attractive to our spouses, but there are other people that our spouses do find attractive because there are other attractive people out there, if you get what I'm saying. It's not that they want to be with these people. It's just that person is appealing to the eye. It doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, that's an attractive person right there. A girl the other day in a dispensary, my wife and I went into the dispensary, and I went back in because I forgot something. And when I went back in, she said, you and your wife are just the most beautiful couple I've ever seen. Oh, yeah? Thanks. That's awesome. And I agree with that. You know what I'm saying? But that's it. That's the point. We try and be this couple that is in tune with each other to where it is noticeable to other people without us even saying anything. People are just intrigued by the relationship that we have. There is a symbiotic relationship that my wife and I have that is just like, you know, I know I brag about it. I'm always the one that ends up losing this fucking marriage on some dumb shit. But I'm like I said, I pray and I fight every day that ain't gonna happen. And I have every confidence in the world that it won't. So I will brag on my relationship with my wife because I'm fucking proud of it. I'm fucking proud of what I have built here with this woman, and I'm sure she is too, because we've built some pretty good shit together. Now, I'm not saying we've built this empire or amassed this, you know, great amount of wealth, but what we have done, we have enriched each other's lives to a degree where it's not beneficial to be without each other. It's better to be with each other than without each other, and that's the way both of us feel, and that's the way that it should be. You know what I'm saying? So that was a crutch phrase. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? That's going to be hard. I mean, and I'm going to continue with that shit. And one of the reasons it happens is, I don't know if you noticed, but when I get excited, I talk really fucking fast. I start talking and I talk fast and I get ahead of myself. And that's where a lot of these things break down, because my mouth gets ahead of my brain. My brain stops for a second, and then it starts with the ums, uhs, and you knows. And that was last week's topic. So, but I just want to let you know, if you're just tuning in for this part, that I'm making a conscious effort to stop saying and you know what I mean. So, back there I had that episode. Where was I? Can you work with your wife? And I think that you can. I think that you can work with your person as long as there is communication. There is communication. I was a bartender for many years. I was also a restaurant manager for many years, and I've worked with a few people that I have dated. And it's rough because I was somebody's supervisor. I've had to fire people that I dated. I've had to fire somebody that I live with. Yeah. Yeah, that's wild business. You can imagine the bullshit at the house. But you can do it. If you know how to do it. My wife and I want to start a business. So that does entail us working together. Now, if you don't know us, we make soap and a lot of different things. You can DM me if you want some of that stuff, but I'm not really here to talk about that. My wife and I want to start a wellness business, and we're starting with soap and things of that nature. But we've been doing markets, and we have been making products, and we've been doing this now for a good 3 years. But in the beginning, we had to determine whether or not we could actually work together in a setting where I might have to be subordinate to you, or you might have to be subordinate to me. But we put it into a better perspective than that. Neither one of us has to be subordinate. We are not subordinate people. Both of us can be dominant. There just has to be an open line of communication and a willingness to compromise. And an openness. That's really what it is. A willingness to compromise. We plead our cases. If she wants something and I don't want it, she will plead her case. And I will sit there with open ears. I don't say, I don't dismiss what she says. You know, if I want something to be done, I sit her down and say, listen, babe, this, that. She may not agree with it. And I say, these are the benefits of that. And even though she doesn't agree with it, she may go with that. Because, yeah, although it may be hard, it does benefit us a little bit more. Makes a little more sense. And that's what I'm talking about. The ability to work together in a setting where It's critical to your livelihood. I think it can be done. People do it every day. People do it every day. And I think it's not as hard as everybody makes it out to be. The only reason it makes it hard is because if it's hard for you to work with your spouse, it's because one of you feels dominant or submissive to the other, for one. Or, this is the other thing. If you don't want this person to work here, it's because there's some shit at work you don't want these people to find out. You don't want this person to find out. Or you just want your space from this person. I just need some time away from you, and that is what work is for me. And all of that is fine. But for me, and for other people who have run across this, which people run across this every day, can I work with you and live with you and be with you? Can I do this? Because, man, at work, you're a fucking bitch. But at home, and this is one of the ways you do it. What is at home stays at home. What is at work stays at work. Now, that's easier said than done, because if I'm at work and you piss me off at work, we might get in the car together and I might be pissed off about what happened at work, but I might not be if we can sit there and discuss what happened. We don't have to discuss it at the time, but if we can discuss what happened, because sometimes, a lot of times, I say that a lot too, sometimes, a lot of times, and a lot of times, people will be like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to get out of hand like that, or I didn't mean to speak to you like that, or I didn't mean to call you out like that. There's a lot of that. But you got to be willing to communicate and open up and strip away the pride. I ain't always got to be right. And you got to be okay with it. And you keep trucking. And you make that money. You put it in perspective. You put your relationship at work, your work relationships. You put your work relationships in perspective. Things have to get done at work. We can't sit here and we can't gossip all the time, especially like my wife and I. I don't know if we could work in an office together, because we would just be blah, 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 because that's what it is anyway. It's ridiculous. So I don't think we could work in like an office setting. I don't think we could work in a bar setting, because if a woman looks in my direction, my wife wants to she would want to jump over the bar and choke her out. And if somebody looked at my wife on some crazy, I might want to do some craziness. Not really, and I do realize that people look at other people. People look at people's people. You know, people will. The guy that lives across the hall from us says, well, you're a very beautiful wife. Thank you. I appreciate it. Because I do. She's beautiful. I think she is. She's a little button, a little cute as a button cutie. But she can be rough, you know, at times. She can be abrasive, you know, little Latin girl from Chicago. She don't fuck around. And that attitude, too. I'm some dude from New York. Is that going to mesh well at work? Ultimately, if you have to work with somebody that you are intimate with, or in a relationship with, a committed relationship, or you're married to, the first thing you have to commit to is respecting your relationship. Respect your relationship first, period. You respect your relationship first. Jobs come and go. Soulmates are a little harder to find. Jobs don't really give a fuck about you. My wife gives a fuck about me. I know that. So we all know where my loyalty lies. And I do realize that jobs are how we pay for our lives. But I'm not going to let my job disrespect my wife or me or my relationship with my wife. Now, there's a lot of companies that have rules against people working for the same company. In certain cases, they can work for the same company, but working for the same department. They can work in different departments. But I don't care either way, because at the end of the day, I'm here to work, and I know who I'm with. I know who I love, period. And as long as I have that, it's okay for me. Find what's okay for you. So if you're thinking about trying to get your wife a job, or see if there's an extra space for your husband down at the plant, or whatever it is, ask yourself first, can we work together? Can we work together? How does it work around the house? Are you mad when you're cleaning up together, or do you clean in harmony? My wife and I, we turn on fucking music and we dance, and midway through, we might go back in the bedroom for 5 or 10 minutes and come back out and keep cleaning up. So, yeah, I think we have a pretty good working relationship, my wife and I. We have a tent where we sell our wares, like I was saying before, where we sell our soap and all that stuff. And we make pretty good money doing it sometimes. We haven't been out in a long time, but from what I remember, I think it's been over a year. It's been over a year since the last time we've been out. Yeah, over a year. But our last time out, But our last time out, we did really, really, really well selling soap and incense and candles and personality. We know our we know what our fortes are. We know what complements each other. And that is why I think that we have a good relationship, a good working relationship, is because we know how to complement each other. So, as long as you know how to compliment your spouse, as long as you respect your spouse, as long as you respect, it comes down to that, just that, respect. As long as you respect all those things, then you shouldn't have a problem working with your spouse. So, if you want to work with your spouse, go ahead, knock yourself out. I don't think it's going to hurt anything, not unless you're hiding shit. So, that's going to do it for relationship goals this week. And with that being said, I think it is going to do it for the Deron Harris Podcast this week. I do appreciate you sitting through and bearing with me as I work through my clutch words, my depression and anxiety, and all the rest of this stuff. I do really appreciate it, folks. And I do know that this is probably going to be the longest podcast that I've done. But I had a lot I wanted to tell you, folks, and I wouldn't take it back for the world. Pause it. Come back to it if it's, it gets to be too long. But I want to thank my wife for being a great partner and a great person to talk to and confide in. I want to thank my wife for being extremely transparent in our relationship, for wearing her heart on her sleeve, for saying how she feels, and if she's angry, showing her anger, and if she's happy, showing her happiness, and sharing it all with me at the same time. So I want to thank her for that. I want to thank my mom for being the best mom in the world. I want to thank my best friend, Jay Yandel, for just being the man all the time with just constant encouragement through this podcasting journey. I want to thank Gentry Thomas, the owner of the station that gives me my platform, the Podcast Playground. Awesome. Check it out. There's lots more podcasts. There's a whole bunch of them. Log on. You won't be disappointed. Lots of good content. Hours and hours of good listening. And that's all made possible by my man Gentry. I do appreciate and love you, brother. And crutch word. I think that's going to do it for this episode of the Deron Harris Podcast. Join me next week. I'm not sure what I'll be talking about, and I'm not even sure if it's going to be the same format as this week. It might be a totally different format. I might have a guest. I might not have a guest. But I might. You never know. So join me next week for the Deron Harris program, and I'll be waiting right here for you. Okay, folks? Thanks. Peace.